Get him out of here. Out. We need to impeach Donald Trump.
In the next election, you're going to be swamped with candidates, but you're not going to be wasting your time. I'm going to be really good for women. Planned Parenthood should absolutely be defunded.
Should abortion be punished?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
That's not America. That's not California. I'm Tom Steyer. Please register.
And vote.
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 Next Gen California Action Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Are you going to have a massive deportation force?
You're going to have a deportation force. We're rounding them up in a very humane way, in a very nice way. We're going to build a wall.
Todos somos californianos. Yo soy Tom Steyer. Y es hora de alzar la voz. Vota.
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 Next Gen California Action Committee es responsable del contenido de este anuncio.
But one man, a billionaire investor named Tom Steyer, he doesn't want to wait. He's already started a full-fledged war to get President Trump out the White House.
Billionaire climate change activist Tom Steyer is calling for the president's impeachment.
Our next guest calls the GOP plan a thinly veiled reverse Robin Hood. Billionaire Democratic donor Tom Steyer, of course, is the founder and president of Next Gen America. Tom, it's good to have you back. Good morning.
Standing room only inside, others listening outside. Hundreds packed Beatnik Studios to hear businessman Tom Steyer.
It is a monumentous task. It is something that is historic, and we're not kidding.
The California billionaire held what he called an impeachment town hall tonight. It was an effort launched in October 2017 and promoted through a national TV and social media ad. Steyer has been drumming up support, demanding that Congress remove the president.
I want you to say it so loud that the heavens hear you. Que hasta el cielo los oiga.
The time is now. Shame on you. Police.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you tell them they're not welcome.
Why are you separating families? Why did you leave my husband alone? It is not. How does he sleep at night? How does he sleep at night? It is not a assignment. It is not a
Back on the curbside. Back on the curbside. Back on the curbside, please. Back on the curbside.
Last week, Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen was shouted out of a Mexican restaurant.
You are a criminal.
Protesters also rallied outside Nielsen's home.
This evil man lives in this building.
And the home of Trump advisor Stephen Miller.
I did not call for harm for anybody. The president lied again.
Tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
We are fighting for the fundamental pillars of our Constitution.
Confrontations began.
This event has been determined to be a riot. The march permit has been revoked.
Stop taking children. Keep families out of prison. Stop taking children. Stop taking children.
I'm a mother. I'm a grandmother. I listen to those babies cry. I see what's happening in this country. I couldn't sleep. I got up at 5:30 in the morning. I had to come down.
Shame! 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 Shame!
Shame! Shame! Shame! Shame! You belong in The Hague! You belong in The Hague! You're a modern-day Nazi! Shame! 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 Shame!
What's it going to look like if he gets his pick? If Trump gets what he wants here? What's the court going to look like for the next 30 years?
We're looking at a destruction of the Constitution of the United States.
They want to do anything they can to obstruct and to make sure it doesn't happen, but it's happening. It's happening. Goodbye, darling. Goodbye, darling. Say hello to Mommy.
God bless America. Let's make America a better place by sharing positive messages. Positive messages. Stop the hatred, stop the swearing, stop the fucking. Let's be peaceful.
It just breaks my heart.
I cry.
It's like.
I physically cry. It's horrible. It's horrible. Somebody's got to end it. I will give my life to end it. I feel that strongly about it. I am so mad.
Among those with Patriot Prayer, the man known as Tiny, who left Portland just a couple of weeks ago. He has come back.
I made a promise to my family, my Patriot family, that I will come back and take a stand with them. I will not let them stand alone. And if I have to die next to my family, to my brothers and my sister that's standing up for freedom in America, I will have to.
This event has been determined to be a riot.
We want him out of the White House.
To immediately disperse, which means break up this assembly.
We're not going nowhere. We are not going anywhere.
Met by protesters who were thrown out of the way. This man leaning on the car to avoid being run over, then staying on the hood of the car as it drove down the road.
It was incredibly scary. I think it's horrific.
This event has been determined to be a riot. The march permit has been revoked.
We're not going nowhere.
Our democracy is directly under attack. Our democracy is directly under attack. Mr. Trump is dangerous. He has more than met the standard for impeachment.
I talked to a few people today in Washington, and then one of them said, how can he make a difference? And I thought to myself, knowing what we're about to launch here in the next few days about impeaching the President of the United States, I thought, you have no idea.
He's brought us to the brink of nuclear war, obstructed justice at the FBI.
A call for the president to be impeached.
Who's mentally unstable and armed with nuclear weapons.
The ad is part of a $10 million campaign run by billionaire Tom Steyer.
And tell your member of Congress that they have a moral responsibility to stop doing what's political and start doing what's right.
The ad ran at about 6:13 a.m. and 45 minutes later, the president answered. Wacky and totally unhinged Tom Steyer, who has been fighting me and my Make America Great Again agenda from the beginning, never wins elections. To which Steyer responded, "You're right about one thing, Mr. Trump. I have been fighting your racism and corporate groveling from the beginning, and always will." Former San Francisco Mayor Willie Brown says the president's attention is great news for Steyer. He wants to be the enemy of the president.
And believe me, Tom Steyer is looking to be identified by everybody in everybody's opening line on television, radio, and private conversations. I am the leader, anti-Trump guy in this country.
Look at someone who's become a billionaire by promoting the use of fossil fuels and then does a 180. That has to raise questions.
Michelle Malkin is digging deeper, exposing the truth behind progressive billionaire Tom Steyer.
Kinder Morgan is the competitor to the Keystone Pipeline.
Tom Steyer is actually going to profit from his anti-Keystone advocacy.
His activism is actually worse for the environment.
Tom Steyer wants to make this about himself, clearly.
50 Shades of Green, billionaire hypocrite Tom Steyer. All new Michelle. All new Michelle Malkin on CRTV.
And right now at 5 o'clock, people lining Tucson streets to protest an appearance by the man leading one of the campaigns to impeach President Trump. This is a live look at Old Nogales Highway near Desert Diamond Casino. That is where Tom Steyer will speak shortly. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Kevin Boughton. Steyer is set to talk about the Clean Energy for a Healthy Arizona ballot initiative. Protesters say he's pushing the initiative without their consent. He has announced he will spend millions of dollars to help fund the effort that would require Arizona utilities to get half of their energy from renewable sources by 2030. He has announced he will spend millions of dollars to help fund the effort that would require Arizona utilities to get half of their energy from renewable sources by 2030. Republicans in Pima County against the initiative say it would force Arizonans to pay more for electricity.
Tell the truth, be a patriot, listen to people who disagree with you, compromise and move on. That's how we've dealt with every one of the big problems that's confronted us for 250 years. The issue that we're having now, or at least the issue I'm having is, and I'll give you an example of climate.
What does this have to do with Trump, dude? You've been speaking about truth all night. I've heard you yell and lie about 30 times tonight. I have yet to hear you say you need... Okay, well, you say you're going to impeach Trump. I have yet to hear... You haven't given me a single reason yet why we need to impeach him. Okay, go ahead. Let's hear it.
If we're talking about the issue here is about Trump, and he's a perfect example. It's not that he's conservative that we're talking about. It's a question of does he tell the truth, and does he obey the laws of the United States and what the American people do?
Well, what has he done? You haven't given us any evidence. You can sit in this echo chamber of liberals and be proud of yourselves. Well, can you answer what has he done? Okay, I'll wait. I want to hear something. What has he done? Okay, well, what has he done to be impeached? Can you answer my question? I haven't gotten a single answer. I want an answer. Okay. I will wait for the mic. I'll wait for the mic. I've read the reasons.
You're gonna keep talking, we're gonna ask you to leave.
Do you want me to leave? All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are leaving. I'm sorry, I have yet to get a reason. Yes, bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye. Why did you just assault me, sir? Why are you hitting me? No, you just hit me, dude. You just hit me. Did you see that? He just hit me. He just hit me. Yes, he did. He just elbowed me. I have yet to get a reason why he needs to be impeached. Congratulations. Bye. Bye. Merry Christmas. God bless America and go Trump 2020.
It is too early to talk about impeachment.
I'm not there. It's not someplace that I think we should go.
The political establishment does not like what we're doing tonight.
I kind of feel like you don't understand Tom Steyer.
Look, I admire his activism, but Tom championing this, while the facts are not even established, will give the impression that this is the result that Democrats wanted from the beginning.
Adam Schiff says now is not the time to talk about this.
Look, I think Adam Schiff is a really smart guy, but this president's behavior is being normalized by his political opponents. If I can slap you in the face and you do nothing, you are now acquiescing in that behavior.
Right.
Most seem to support Steyer's mission, but nearing the end of the town hall, commotion by a heckler. The man appeared upset because Steyer wouldn't answer his question, but after calming the crowd, Steyer did.
That when we cooperate with people, together we'll produce 120 points of view.
We asked him about it after the event.
We cannot be intimidated by bullies like that, by bullies in the White House, by bullies in the Congress. It's never going to happen.
Of course, the person raising the most questions about this was a man who says he's looking at running for president, Donald Trump, the New York billionaire real estate magnate. In fact, he was touching down in New Hampshire today, the early primary state of New Hampshire, as the White House was releasing this document. And when he landed, he seemed to take credit for it.
Today, I'm very proud of myself because I've accomplished something that nobody else has been able to accomplish.
You heard Donald Trump say it here. He did something no one else was able to do, but he did it over the last few weeks with something approaching innuendo. Just the other night, he said, I hear the birth certificate is missing. He told you, George, you wouldn't believe what my investigators are finding on the ground in Hawaii.
As Donald Trump started considering a run for the presidency himself, here we get to 2011, and suddenly he's showing up on TV saying, why doesn't he, Obama, show his birth certificate? He goes on to talk radio and on the internet saying, I'm starting to wonder myself whether or not he was born in this country. And in an even more pronounced way, he said, if he wasn't born in this country, which is a real possibility, then he's pulled one of the great cons in the story of politics. So you see how he's stacking up the doubt here. And then Barack Obama releases his long-form birth certificate, and everyone thinks the story is dead. It's finished. There's the proof. He was born in America. But not so fast. We move forward, and Trump starts bringing it up again. A lot of people do not think that birth certificate was an authentic certificate. And then he keeps going, saying things on Twitter, for example. He jumps out there and he says, an extremely credible source has called my office and told me that Barack Obama's birth certificate is a fraud. And he keeps building on it. He never lets it entirely die. Every single one of these appearances is from Donald Trump. A lot of people feel it wasn't a proper certificate, and he never stopped with this. It kept coming up, telling CNN just this year, who knows about Obama? Who knows? Who knows? Who cares right now? I have my own theory on Obama.
Last question here, just your message to some of the graybeards in the Democratic Party. David Axelrod tweeting this out. I returned to that ad that we showed at the top. Billionaire Tom Steyer wasted no time in converting the sound of crying immigrant children into the latest ad for his vanity project.
Terrible things happen when you leave a lawless president in power. Donald Trump is unfit for his office. Call Congress now. If they won't stand up to him, they're just as responsible as he is.
His vanity project / impeachment campaign. That's his characterization there. There are those in the Democratic Party who don't want this to happen. They think that this is a death wish for the Democrats to keep pushing for impeachment. What do you say to them? What do you say to folks like David Axelrod?
If we think we're telling an important truth and standing up for the democracy and the American people, then we're going to go forward, and we're not going to let the elites inside the Beltway tell us that everybody outside of Washington should stand down and they'll take care of it, because frankly, they haven't been taking care of it.
Well, you need somebody, because politicians are all talk, no action. Nothing's going to get done. They will not bring us, believe me, to the promised land. You know, all of my life I've heard that a truly successful person, a really, really successful person, and even modestly successful, cannot run for public office. Just can't happen. And yet that's the kind of mindset that you need to make this country great again. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am officially running for President of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
Another point of dispute involves Steyer's assets.
The Keystone Pipeline is not a good investment.
Steyer made his money as the manager of a $20 billion hedge fund, amassing a fortune through a variety of investments, including many in the very fossil fuels he now decries.
He made most of his fortune in foreign coal investments, the very energy one of the energy sources he now says he wants to get rid of. I think a lot of Americans will see it as hypocrisy and as political opportunism from Mr. Steyer.
Steyer says it was those investments that led him to his most recent cause.
I need to square what I believe is right with what I was doing in my own life.
So not only did he recognize it was not right, he
decided to step down from the business that he had helped create, a fund that he was doing exceptionally well in, and decided to leave and dedicate and donate the money that he has made to really fighting this.
Though Steyer divested 2 years ago from some of what he calls the dirtier fuels, coal and tar sands, his portfolio is, as of today, still not free of these investments. In other words, Steyer has continued to make money off these unclean energies while simultaneously decrying them.
Does this pipeline help us, or does it help you narrow interests?
But this month, his advisors say, all of those fossil fuel investments will end.
By the end of this month. Climate change is not science. You want a skeptic, I'm right here.
All of this with the global warming and that, a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
It'll get cooler, it'll get warmer, it's called weather.
We need some global warming.
We need leaders who get it, so that we can move away from coal and oil to clean energy. I'm Tom Steyer. If you want to do something about climate change, you can. Please, register and vote.
This is a year between now and November 6th. We have to do a great job. And if we don't, we will regret it for the rest of our lives. And if we do a good enough job, then that should have a big impact. Here we go.
It's not your grandpa's campaign, and the campaign tactics that we used 20 years ago aren't going to work today. We're talking to people that not a lot of other people are talking to.
Coming off the heels of what we did in Virginia on the immigrants' rights side was a clear rejection of Trump's playbook on racist tactics of vilifying immigrants, and now we find ourselves in this moment to protect dreamers and pass the Clean Dream Act.
We've registered over 800,000 voters in California. 60% of them were from communities of color.
The fact that literally hundreds of students, hundreds of young activists across the country have access to the policy team and a research team. Wow, wow, wow.
If we can effectively continue to fill the void that a party can't fill, I feel like we're really doing what's best for America.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, we have an organizer named Lizzie. In 2016, Lizzie was a manager at Starbucks. She was not a political person at all. And she saw the election of Donald Trump as an assault on who she was as a person.
Now official, Donald Trump is the next president of the United States.
President of the United States.
The destruction of the Constitution of the United States.
I am the leader, anti-Trump God in this country.
You are modern-day Nazi!
We need to impeach Donald Trump.
President of the United States.
And she came on board as an organizer. She's been organizing every day since basically Trump's inauguration.
And I like the issue for election too. Our issue is strong borders, no crime. Their issue is open borders. Let MS-13 all over our country.
At a national gathering of the American Immigration Lawyers Association in San Francisco, Next Gen America founder and president Tom Steyer expressed his support for the work they're doing and how he wanted to help them even more.
And I'm pleased to say today that over the course of this year, I'm going to invest an additional $1 million.
Money which will help at least 11 organizations across the country that are helping immigrants facing deportation.
At a rally with his supporters overnight in South Carolina, President Trump drew applause with his call for kicking undocumented immigrants out of the country without being allowed to see a judge.
I don't want judges. I want ICE and Border Patrol agents. That's what I want. That's all. And we want to tell people, I'm sorry. You're coming into the country illegally. We don't want you in the country. That's it. It's now over.
The contribution comes on top of the $2.3 million Steyer and Next Gen America previously committed in 2017.
The need is as great or more than ever to provide protection for these people who are under threat of deportation, and also to do the positive work of doing DACA applications and citizenship applications.
We don't appreciate you breaking the law. We don't appreciate you separating families. We don't appreciate your behavior across the board. I think you can't do that.
You know, you hear the other side, you never hear this side. You don't know what's going on. These are the American citizens permanently separated from their loved ones. The word permanently being the word that you have to think about, permanently. They're not separated for a day or 2 days. They are permanently separated.
This is my only child. I have no family. That's it. The public needs to know, and they deserve to know, that this could happen to each one of you at any given second. You hug your child, you send them off, no matter what age they are. And then you get that ugly phone call that will forever change your life. And thank God, our president and vice president, Voice, my family of Aviac, they rallied behind us. They were the only ones and gave us a little light. I was going to end my life. I had no purpose. But President Trump coming down that escalator that day and talking about illegal immigration stopped me in my track. And I had no clue at that point that I would ever be at the White House. And I thank President Trump, Vice President Pence, everybody behind me. I thank you. I thank everybody out here. Make sure you get our stories out. I brought my son. This is what I have left, his ashes. I wear his ashes in a locket. This is how I get to hug my son. So remember when you go home and hug your kids, that there are many of us, thousands of us, who don't get to do that.
And it's because of families like yours that my administration created the new office of DHS, the Victims of Immigrant Crime Engagement, which has been doing, I hear, a fantastic job. They call it Voice, so that your voices can be heard. We want people in our country based on merit, not based on a draw, where other countries put their absolute worst in a bin and they start drawing people. Where you think they're going to put their good ones. They don't put their good ones, they put their bad ones.
Can the planet survive 4 years of this kind of policy coming from Donald Trump and his administration?
Tom Steyer and John Podesta.
I used to talk to Tom on the phone here in California, me back on the East Coast, and he'd begin every conversation by saying, "John, it's worse than you think. It's really worse than you think." And then he'd give me the latest scientific evidence or something that's happened or some gigantic piece of ice that fell off the coast of Greenland or the Antarctic. Now I start every conversation when he's on the West Coast and I'm on the East Coast talking about Donald Trump. And he says, "John, it's worse than you think. It's really worse than you think."
So from my standpoint,
I view this as much more urgent than is generally thought, partially because of what John started by teasing me about. That if you actually listen to the scientists, they keep saying, we said it would be 2040, and now we're saying it's going to be 2025. That we are, compressing the time we have to act. So from my standpoint, the political question here about winning becomes infinitely more important because we have to win now.
When I announce they are going to endorse me, because if I lose, should I lose, or if I don't run, they're out of business. Who's going to cover? They're going to cover Bernie? Hey, they're going to cover like Sleepy Joe Biden? They're going to cover Pocahontas? Who was... Think of it.
I got a chance to take a photo and say hello to Tom. Yeah, he seemed just like a really down-to-earth person. He spends a lot of time with his volunteers and supporters that he knows kind of who we are, and he just seemed like a regular guy. I was surprised by that.
It's always impressive to me when a white man who is upper class is talking about race and gender and not afraid to say that that is an important issue. And so to hear someone talk so boldly was really impressive, really empowering.
But there's a broader question here, and that's what Trump was referring to. There are a group of people in the United States of America who do not live in Palo Alto, California. They do not live in New York City. They do not live in the parts of the country that are seeing real growth. They're not connected to the information technology revolution. They are not connected to the positive aspects of globalization. And they can see the climate changing, but for them, that is not the immediate problem they're dealing with. That's just something that may put them out of work. So they feel completely scared by the fact that the world is changing, that people in Palo Alto go like, whoa, just killed it on my latest investment. They're going like, whoa, the world is changing, and they just closed the plant. And there's only one plant. Or they just closed the coal mine. And now what do? Now we're going to get less than half the dollars per hour that we thought we were going to get or that we were getting. So the question to me is not the macro question you asked, but the micro question. What do we say to the people in rural America or poor urban America who are not connected to the growth, for whom the rapid pace of change in our society is scary as anything? And that is what Trump was dealing with. That fear, that uncertainty, and that sense that no one was listening. And I would say, I think his answer was a dishonest one, and I think it was absolutely, we're not going back to a lot of coal miners. Even if we dug a ton more coal, it's all mechanized. No one is going into a coal face with a pick and shovel anymore, period. But it was a perfect symbol for going back to a time when being a hardworking American who was willing to go to work every day and kill yourself meant you got a middle-class job, including in rural America. So the question is, when we talk to those people who are hardworking and scared, how are we actually, not how are we going to fake it, how are we actually going to include them? So we can be really competitive. We can work really hard. We can absolutely stand up against what's wrong. And we can also support people who are under attack from injustice in the United States. That is exactly what we are trying to do here. So I want to say, I view what you guys are doing as the essence of patriotism. This is exactly what this republic was designed to do, was for American citizens to raise up their voices, to support the democracy and to support each other, and to insist on people being treated fairly.
Nobody said it was going to be easy for us, but we will never be stopped. I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created.
Record low unemployment and a record high stock market. The Trump economy is red hot.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself and for his regime. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen.
Now Kim Jong-un says President Trump will pay dearly for those words.
Getting a good picture, everybody, so we look nice and handsome and thin.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
North Korea now committing to complete denuclearization.
I mean, it's truly remarkable what he's doing. He has done more than any president in recent history, certainly in the last half century.
He's not a politician. He's one of us. Never, ever, ever give up.
Never stop fighting for what you believe in and for the people who care about you. Carry yourself with dignity and pride. Relish the opportunity to be an outsider. Embrace that label, because it's the outsiders who change the world and who make a real and lasting difference. Treat the word impossible as nothing more than motivation.
3 American hostages are back home.
I am asking all citizens to embrace this renewal of the American spirit. Seize this moment, believe in yourselves, believe in your future, and believe once more in America. I will fight for you with every breath in my body, and I will never, ever let you down. The forgotten man and the forgotten woman. You're not forgotten anymore. They'll take away your